We are here at Layer 8, a social engineering conference hosted here in Providence, Rhode Island, which is nice because it's a short commute for many of us here at Security Weekly. I'm here with Helen Negre. She is a product security officer and data privacy advisor. Helen, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Now, we were talking earlier, and it kind of got my gears turning about if you weren't in cybersecurity or in the security community and you took an outside look in,
hmm
you may draw some conclusions that aren't necessarily 100% or even close to 100% accurate. And you really took this to heart and did a study.
Yes. So I had met some intro students. It was their first cyber class,
Hmm.
and we would have discussions on their perceptions of the industry. I met quite a few of them that said they were thinking of switching majors
Hmm.
because what they saw in the media and what they saw on social media
Hmm.
was negative or kind of filled with infighting, and it was intimidating to them. It
Hmm.
scared them, and I found myself saying, no, 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 we're not like this. I promise. The industry is filled with great people,
Hmm.
um, people that are supportive, people that will help you learn, help you grow. And I thought, okay, this is my personal perception. Um, Maybe I can get some people to fill out some psychological
Hmm.
profiles, and let's see
Which
what
good
we
for
get.
you, because so many people take their perception and call it fact.
Right.
And you were like, oh, no, 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 hold on, that's not good enough, right?
Well, funny about that. So I was in this really emotional space, and I called one of my, mentors, who's like this old school hacker,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Okay, Helen, take a breath. You need to get out of that emotional space and into the logical space.
Right.
Now, what do you want to do?" I said,
Hmm.
"Oh, well, if I do that, I want to study this,"
Hmm.
and that's kind of how this happened.
That's awesome.
Um,
So,
so,
do you have a background in like psychology or
so
science or conducting studies?
I studied cognitive psychology at the
There you go.
University of California, Riverside for 3 years before going to cybersecurity.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then I did cybersecurity with an emphasis in digital forensics out of
Hmm.
Baypath. Baypath went ahead and approved my study. So
That's awesome.
that's how this all came to
Oh,
be.
so this isn't just like you're a hacker and decided to study some data. Like
Uh,
this is an actual like legit like approved study.
like I wrote a paper.
That's
So I'm a
awesome.
hacker. I decided to study some data,
Yeah.
and then I went to a university and I said, "Hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to do this," and they said,
Oh, that's
"Okay, go
encouraging. That's
ahead."
great. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
a lot of times, a lot of the talks here, not that it needs to be a like a validated study in any capacity. That we trust and we kind of screen the other people in our community to say yes, that's legitimate research. Or if it's not, help them
help
make
them, right.
sure. But you went the extra step further with your background and said, nope, this is a legit study. That's
So
awesome.
on the helping part,
Hmm.
I've launched the study using pre-validated test questions so
Okay.
that I wouldn't have to create my own validation mechanism in the background.
Yep.
And I had people immediately say, you know what? This language should be modified. This
Hmm.
one needs to be more inclusive. This one can be seen as prejudicial.
Right.
And I thought this is one of those examples as how the community really is more open and inclusive than we think it
Right.
is.
Because we get a survey or a test and we immediately say, yeah, that could be better. That's going to
Right,
have some, selection bias in
right,
the Yeah, exactly.
right. And just random people were saying this is how you could get better.
Right.
And it wasn't in some kind of aggressive way. It was genuinely saying, we want you to succeed in this.
Right. Right.
And
So how many people were included in the study?
1,000,
That's awesome. That's
a
awesome.
1,000 people who self-identified as members of this community,
Hmm.
and 60 people who didn't.
Sure. Okay.
So, whatever.
That's a good number,
That's a good
though,
number, yeah.
right? Because what the number to have valid data from a study is like 300, 500, something like that, right?
It's well, you want to
I'm
at
sure it
least get
depends.
more than 125 people to have
Okay.
statistically significant information,
Gotcha.
but the more the better. And
Yeah.
once you have 300, you can start to make some generalizations.
Sure. So I like 1,000. That's good.
Yeah, so 1,000 was good.
Right. So what did
And
you find
what
from
I
these 1,000 people?
what I found from these 1,000 people is at a rate that is much higher than the general population who responded. We have a high rate of pro-social behavior,
Hmm.
a high rate of actively open-minded thinking. We mentor at an extraordinary rate.
Hmm.
We feel supported by our community. And then if you ask these kind of screening questions, right, what's your perception of the community? We're really hard on ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, we are. I agree.
Um, and so part of my takeaway of this is we're doing a lot better than we think we are. And maybe we need to do a little bit in the way of reaching out to newcomers to say, hey, we are a welcoming space. We are here to mentor you. Almost all of us responded that we've been mentored by people in this community.
Yeah,
So,
I take that to heart because I think that when I reflect on some of the more recent opportunities that I had to mentor, I feel like I didn't spend enough time. Again, it goes back to like we're really hard on ourselves. Like I take responsibility for not spending enough time mentoring those people.
but here's the thing, mentoring can be micro mentoring, which
Yeah,
is, you know,
sure.
you answer a few questions in their in their moment of crisis right now. You teach them one new skill. You help connect them to somebody who can answer their questions and get them where they need to go.
Right.
Mentoring does not have to be 3, 4 years of meeting with them every week
Right.
and
Right.
having this long drawn out conversation. It can be whatever the person needs in that space. There are people that I would consider mentors that I believe if you ask them if they're
Yeah, they
mentors, they
don't
would say no.
look at that way. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had when I wanted to learn some development skills, I struggled with that in the classroom setting. It just didn't work well for me. But I went to one of the developers at the place I was working at the time, and I said, I want to learn more about what you do, and how to do it. And he had lunch with me and taught me how to code.
Right.
And later on, when I said, thank you for your mentorship, he's like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, like I just had lunch and talked a little
Right.
bit. Yeah.
Right. And so I think people do it a lot more than they would give themselves credit for. And the idea of this big formal mentoring space prevents people from putting themselves out there and opening themselves up in that way.
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah, I think about how I've been programming since I was 7, and some of my early mentors and how hard they were on me,
right,
right? And I'm like, I think sometimes that doesn't necessarily happen today, but the way I got better was someone was critical in a positive way, right?
right.
But critical, and I've learned, and I've realized I need to take that and pay it forward, to kind of pay back the people who mentored me, right?
Well, honestly, I have to say a lot of my mentors were not critical. They were positive in this way that was overwhelming. Um, there's a video that went viral a while back. It was a little boy in a karate studio, and his name was Phoenix.
I
And
think I saw this
yeah, he
video.
was like
Yeah.
trying to break the piece of
Sure,
wood,
sure.
and he couldn't. And he started crying, and all of his friends were cheering for him, and the instructor was there trying to tell him exactly what he had to do it. And then he finally did it, and all of his friends came and hugged him. And I don't usually share those things, but I shared it and I said, this is what having hacker friends are like. Like that is my experience in that community. When I've been Phoenix and I think, okay, I can't do this, and maybe I should go and get like a regular office job.
Right.
There are
That's not the
people,
time to be critical.
right?
The
There
time
are,
to be critical is really when I'm like, I got this. Look at my code. It's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
And they're like, what? No, hold on.
hold on, and I've had that too.
Yeah.
You know,
And a good mentor knows
Right.
how to balance those two
they're the
things.
first
Yep.
people to check my ego when I'm
Yep.
like, I'm badass. This is awesome. And then they're the first person to come
Pick
up
you
and
up if
say,
you fell
no,
down, right?
it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people learn more about the study and be mentor? I know there's InfoSec Mentors, which Keith Hoodlet is a
Right.
project that he did.
And if people want to read my data, read
Mm-hmm.
my paper, any of that, they can reach out to me directly at Helen Negre on Twitter. And I can go ahead and provide you with my results.
Awesome.
So you can do your own data metrics on it. I have any.
And you have slides there too. You're presenting here?
No, I actually presented previously
Yeah.
at B-Sides, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and on campus.
Okay.
So I have
Sure.
slides with data if you actually wanted to see numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if there are any data scientists out there that want to crunch the numbers more in depth, I would love it.
That's
I
awesome.
will provide you with the raw data, and whatever you find from it would be fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Helen, thank you so much. That was
Thanks.
awesome.
It was great. It was great talking to you.
You
You
too.
have a great day.